So there's a man that said, yep, we have technical backgrounds, but what we learned along the way was that the technical part was necessary, but it wasn't actually the essential ingredient, that it was about enabling joy. And it's interesting because that concept comes from a guy, Dr. W Edwards Deming. Now, he is an electrical engineer with a doctorate in physics, but for those of you who know the name, you may recognize that he is the one that Japan credits with helping them in the 1950s, come out of the destruction and the destitution of World War II. And later became well known in America. And he had a mandate to leaders. And at first, his mandate was phrased as drive out fear. And he then changed it to enable joy. As we study this, we'll realize that's actually the same sentence, because the opposite of fear is joy, and the opposite of joy is fear. And so when I was working with performance improvement in a large organization and was doing the other things that Deming said, I very much resonated with this term, drive out fear and enable joy, but I wasn't quite sure how to explain it. So it only took me 10 years to figure it out. And as a result, I wrote a book about how to unpack these two words, enable joy. And that book is called Enabling Joy. It's Your Calling as a Leader. Briefly, what it really means is that as human beings, our joy comes from the ability to connect with people and connect with the purpose of something. And that when we don't want to just be connected, we want to create value toward it. We want to help make it better. And that we don't want to just make it better for making it better sake. We want to give it to the person who deserves it, the person who's paying for it, the person who will benefit from it, to contribute it. And so what we found is that enabling joy, to do that as a leader, to enable that joy, comes down to being able to help people connect, create value, and contribute. And that's our approach. And so we bring that approach. We bring it in what we would call an enthusiastic way. So for an example, we've worked with project teams, and one of the things that project teams struggle with a lot is something called risk management or risk assessments, where you look out and say, okay, what can go wrong in this project? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? That sounds like pessimist work. And so, oh boy, what sort of joy is in that? So when we work with a team, one of the things that we've done several times in the past is we actually put that into a game. How do you assess risk? It's an intuitive process. And people on the team approach it differently. Some are risk avoiders, some are risk, takers. How do we know that as a project team leader? And how do we use that to the best advantage? Because that's how people are connecting to the project in their framework. That's how they contribute value, by either thinking we can do it or know this is going to be a big problem. And by sharing that and pulling it together is how we contribute to the success of the team. So that's how we're enabling joy in something that would sound kind of pessimistic, called what could go wrong in this project, risk assessment.